successful people that's ever existed on this planet. They leveraged debt and then they became wealthy. I was attacked by armed robbers with a gun to my chest and I had to beg for my life.
Do you feel disrespected by the industry, or do you feel like you still have something to prove? Welcome back to my channel where we discuss personal development, business and everything else that's connected. If this is the first time you are visiting my channel, then please hit the like and subscribe button. Just to let you know, we are now releasing videos every Wednesday 11 AM and every Sunday 3 PM. Make sure to tune in as you don't want to miss them. Okay, so you've been going for 2 years, yeah?
Yeah, podcast, yeah. 2.5 years now.
What's your strategy with podcast?
Well, it was, for me, I started for fun.
Same?
Yeah, I started for fun. And then secondly,
Branding and stuff like that.
The intention was to model, the likes of CEO, Diary of a CEO.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then that's what we're pushing now. A great gateway to interviewing people who are doing really well. So when I first started, it was okay, I interview anyone, but gradually it has to be someone that's going
to bring value, right?
That's bringing value, not just anyone.
Yeah,
so a lot of people have actually said, this does, like, listen, yeah, I appreciate it, but it has to be. I got 20,000 email list.
You have?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've got engaging audience.
Yep.
So and gradually it just started changing,
That's what happens in anything, isn't it?
Yeah, it just started changing, and I just felt, what, because it's changing, that's what we're gonna go towards. And now we had our first £20,000 sponsorship at the beginning of the year.
First sponsor?
Yeah, £20,000.
Wow. What's your subscribers and everything? Is it?
Subscribers not that big, 1,000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, YouTube channel. My YouTube channel just got, I think if I'm right, 950, 960.
Okay.
I only started doing YouTube this year.
Also, first you was on the podcast, didn't
It was just audio only.
Interesting.
Spotify.
But now you do both.
Yeah, now I do both.
Got it.
Now I'm committing more time to it. Now I'm putting more structure to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's part of your longer big time plan.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Dr. Daniel.
Are we starting now?
We started, bro.
Okay.
We just start. We don't do no 3, 2, 1.
All right.
Yeah. So Dr. Daniel, property wealth strategist, best-selling author, podcast host, member of Forbes Council, and so much more.
Yes.
Welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I'm live in Manchester.
Yes.
Wow.
You was doing an event yesterday, right?
Yes, I was speaking to a few people who are looking to invest in the international market.
Yeah.
So I was one of the keynote speakers who came down to Manchester to educate a lot of African community people who are looking to invest back home in Africa.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a good time. Yeah,
How do you find speaking?
People. I find speaking as something that it's becoming a passion. It's becoming a passion for me now. I never thought I would love it, because once upon a time, I remember when I was going to speak, my heart would feel like it's dropping to the floor. It felt like my heart was dropping to the floor. But I'm loving it now. I'm really loving it. I've been speaking now for a good 3-4 years.
Okay.
So I'm really loving it. I think I really started loving speaking really much better this year, because when I first started, it was all about property, but now there's a lot of diversification coming to my spot, to my speaking career. So, and I'm loving it.
Like what? Like opportunities coming, you mean? Or did you say different topics?
So diversification means, I'm not just speaking about property.
Got it.
I'm speaking about life. I'm speaking about mindset. I'm speaking about branding.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about business. So when you're speaking property, it's good to speak as a property speaker, but for me, property speaking is quite very, I love to use the word, is a bit dry.
Yeah.
So I started developing other aspects of my business that I can speak on.
I like that.
So I love it.
So how, do people reach out to you now, or do you also reach out to people and try to look for good opportunities where you can get in certain rooms?
Well, the good thing is I have a big team now behind me.
Yeah,
So we're working hard to get more exposure, and we're also very excited that people are naturally also reaching out, and that's the power of branding, and that's the power of being out there, and that's the power of being staying true to yourself.
yeah,
You know, from time to time, I share my highs a lot, and I also share my lows more. I actually share my lows more than I share my highs. I
yeah.
actually show the life rather than more than just the property, you know, because I've come to that stage of my life where I've come to realize entrepreneurship is never an unending journey. So it's good to share both,
Yeah.
and it's good to be very authentic, and it's good to be real.
Yeah, no, 100% I agree with that. And I noticed that I don't know if it's a recent thing, but I've just noticed it recently that you've been doing a lot of lives. You
Yeah,
provide value a lot on Instagram with
yeah,
different people.
yeah.
What's the strategy behind that? I'm
Well,
interested in knowing.
interestingly, the vibe behind doing a lot of Instagram live is to just, number one is to give value,
Yeah.
all right, and number two is as well as to create more awareness. So because when I do the lives, it stays up for at least 48 hours, and after 48 hours it's deleted.
Really?
Yes.
So does it go on your feed
So it
automatic?
goes on my feed. I put it on my feed for at least 24 hours, and after 24 hours I delete them.
So you
And
don't keep them on?
no, I don't keep them on. And worst case scenario, 72 to 74 hours, I leave them on. But most time, I've told the team to make sure they're strict to it. So people need to come and watch it live, because after that, it's only turned into shorts.
Interesting.
Yes.
That's interesting you do that. And that's your strategy and that works for you, right?
That's the
Why
strategy.
wouldn't you just leave it on?
The fact that if we were to leave it on,
Mm.
you know, from time to time, depending on the guest I'm bringing on, people could have, could feel like, you know what, we can always watch it, right?
Mm.
But when it's live, you know it's going to be turned into shorts. You might as well show up and watch it. And I mean, just like every other social media,
Yeah.
what I'm looking to do is to basically create a show with my live fields. So if I promote a guest speaker coming through
Yeah.
at a certain point in time,
Mm.
basically means that I am able to have enough people who tunes in. My highest number of people who listened on a live event was about 560.
That's a really good,
That's
powerful engagement. That.
Yeah, that was 560 people live. So I want to build it to a place where I'm having thousands,
Yeah, yeah,
actually
yeah.
coming live. So now if I'm going to leave you on the field after it's been done, that's going to frustrate that show up rate,
Hmm.
because people are going to be like, I'm going to come back and watch it. Just like a movie, right? If you know
Yeah.
you're going to watch a movie tomorrow and the day after,
So you're
what's the
trying to
point?
cause urgency in the people and be like, look, I put my stuff up. Go and watch it within that amount of time. Otherwise, it's gonna be gone.
Yeah, it'll be gone, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So what days do you go on?
Randomly.
Randomly, right?
When I mean randomly, when I mean randomly, I can be speaking to a very important guest today. And from that important guest, we can be having a conversation and the team be like, okay, we can make this happen in a day or two. Usually that would, that would get structured very quickly within a couple of hours, depending on their schedule. So, and we could be doing an Instagram live tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah, yeah.
the quickest one we've ever had was 12 hours. So the client, or rather, the guest, I was going to say client, the guest actually said, oh, I'm available tomorrow.
Mm.
And my PA basically said, oh, this person's available tomorrow at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, okay, what do we do now? Can you schedule a call within the next hour so I can jump on a phone call with them to quickly have a chat?
So you do that beforehand, yeah?
So yeah, we'll do that 1 hour chat or 30 minutes chat before, and then the next day we were live.
Got it.
So it's my Instagram live is not very structured.
It's just random, but you
It's
show up,
random. It's random depending on the guest or depending on the size of the guest,
and it works for you, right?
and it works for me. And then on the other hand, when people want to then interview me on my Instagram live, that is structured.
Got it. Got it.
So I've got outbound and I've got inbound.
I like it. I like it. What's your situation? What's your thoughts on Threads, the new app Threads?
Interestingly, I joined Threads, and within 5 hours, I I think I went over 2,000 within 5 hours. And I was really proud of that because that shows that I've got a little bit of notoriety.
Yeah.
People are becoming accustomed to what I do, and people like what they, and people when people like you. The beauty of what I love about Thread at the moment is that Thread as an app, it's a proof of your followership, basically. It's
Yeah.
a proof. It's an app that proves how your followership love your content. All right, because there's no at the moment
You can't fake
you
it.
can't sponsor it. So like Instagram, I do a lot of boost posts. All right, so every single time I make a post on Instagram, I spend about £5 on it. Worst case scenario, best case scenario, I put about £20 on it.
Depending on how, yeah.
Exactly, depending on what I want. Facebook, the same thing, but rather one of my biggest social media is Instagram, and it's my most engaging platform. And follow that is LinkedIn. So LinkedIn as well. LinkedIn, I've got a marketing strategy behind that. But for Thread is very organic. And so far for us to have not gotten to almost 5,000, if I'm right, I think the last time I checked, just under 4,000, we should be hitting 5,000 now, if I'm very correct. I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
So it just shows that okay, out of whatever number of followers I've got on Instagram, 5,000 have actually gone
That's a
through.
really good number.
So
Yeah.
that's not a bad number at all. One of my very good friends, he's got 2 million followers, and within 24 hours, his followership on Thread hit about 350. So I was like, yes, I mean, we live in a world of attention at the moment. Let's
Yeah.
be very honest about it. It is who can create the most attention
Yeah.
and who can retain the most attention, all right, that's going to get most business
Yeah.
transaction.
Well said.
Yeah.
I fully agree. Do you post on Threads every day, or are you at the moment you're just thinking of what to do?
Interestingly, I'm not. Just on Friday, just before the launch of my new book, the test, I basically
We've got it here,
told,
guys. We'll talk about that as well.
yeah. So ahead of the test, I basically spoke to my PA and I said, take the test and take Rent to Rent Made Easy, which is my first book.
Yep.
And I said, go and start creating, content from it.
Yeah.
Just take information,
Yeah.
all right, and just get all the information out on Thread, and then repopulate that into Twitter.
Yeah.
So at the moment, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Thread, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn,
TikTok.
TikTok. I'm posting on TikTok, but I haven't really personally. It's not enticing to me as an individual.
Yeah.
But I've been told a lot of times that get on it, because it can help you with your organic reach. So in the month of August, I'm going to be making that my really big cup of tea now.
YouTube Shorts is good as well.
Yeah, I started doing YouTube. Like I started paying attention to my YouTube
Yeah.
at the beginning of the year, and we had just about 100 subscribers. Now we've basically grown by 900%. So we're currently just 1,000 subscribers now on YouTube.
Yeah.
So and that's been organic as well. So I'm really, really looking forward to seeing what happens with my content at the moment. I think one of the things that makes me very excited about my content is very natural.
Yeah.
There is no, my content, there is no sort of any, I'm not trying to sell with the content. What I'm trying to do is build relationship. I'm trying to build relationship with my content.
You're trying to serve.
So I'm trying to, let me build the relationship, all right, and see the results. And if you see the results of what I'm doing and you feel like I'm the right guy, then let's do it.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of my content. So, and that has come across over time, of what I do.
What's your thoughts on selling?
I think there is hard sell. There is very brutal hard selling. I think so far one of the things that's kept me and my company over the last 6 years I've been on this game now.
Yeah.
Is the fact that I don't do any sort of hard selling. People who have actually bought from us came and said, I've been seeing what you've been doing the last 6 months. I'm ready to buy.
Yeah, like for example, you do Instagram lives, you do this, you do that, and then
I tell people I'm doing
organically just
people organically say, okay, we're ready to buy, and I think that's what's kept my credibility. I mean, I'm a property coach and a business coach.
Yeah.
Right. And you would want to agree with me when it comes to business coaching and mentoring in the UK. There's a lot of negativity around all the other big boys who are doing things. A lot of people have had, their own reservations about it. And I mean, I am a black man in a very white-dominated industry. So by the grace of God, since I've been in this market, I haven't had any sort of negative. It will come one day. We're waiting for it, because it will, I mean, it's just only natural. But I think one of the things that's allowed me not to literally have negative press or negative reviews so far is the fact that it's whatever we're doing or whoever we're trying to serve is very natural. So we're not trying to take your money and say, okay, I'm going to get you to become a property millionaire in 6 months. Or, is you using my product that's going to change your life in the next 2 days or the next 6 months. Whatever we're doing is very natural, because for me, I've been in business for over 20 plus years.
Yeah.
But I didn't quite understand business in that sort of way. So in the last 6, 7 years, especially since 2016, I went on this journey that gave birth to the new guy that you see now. So, and I understand that things naturally take time.
Yeah.
So no matter how anybody's going to try and push you, you know, it's like Murphy's Law. It says whatever will go wrong will go wrong. And the same thing that says under Murphy's Law, whatever will go wrong will go wrong. Same thing as whatever will go right will go right. But things absolutely takes time.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of old school and I'm also of a new school. I'm a bit in between both. I'm in my early 40s. So I've seen life. Life is beating me to the ground. And life is taking me up as well. So at the end of the day, being in this industry,
Yeah.
and all of this, I think I just came to a point where I completely understand it. So because I understand it, I'm not trying to sell you dreams. In as much as I know that's what everybody wants to hear, but I sell you reality. I'm going to tell you it's going to be hard. And I'm going to tell you it's going to take time, and I'm going to tell you little drops of water is going to make an ocean. Think about the Chinese bamboo tree. It takes 6 years for it to go over 80 foot tall. And that's the reason why, a lot of businesses fail and fall victims today, because we are all in this instant gratification, instant success. You're in business 1 or 2 years, you're driving a Lambo. You're in business 2, 3 years, you're driving a Phantom. I've been here all my life, so I kind of understand the way
Yeah.
things work.
Yes.
So because I understand the way things work, and I understand, for example, one of my mentors, he's been in the game for over 40 years.
Yeah.
And if you speak to him, he will tell you those things rubbish, So yeah, I kind of understand. I belong to kind of a different school of thought.
Yeah.
And that's why I only deal with serious people.
Yes.
So, and that has been the reason why I've kept my integrity.
That's really good. So what do you do as of today?
I do many things.
Please tell me.
My biggest cup of tea now one of my biggest cup of tea has always been property.
Yeah.
But obviously, as I evolved around, I discovered more talent that I have within me. So number one is property. So I'm actively raising money to do my property investment. Over the last 3 years, I raised over 1.5 million.
So you're using other people's to buy
OPM.
properties? And, yeah.
Yes, OPM. So other people's money to do my investment. So that would be for deposit, refurbishment, and all of that. And then refinance on a long-term plan,
Yeah.
and then obviously pay them back and sit on the asset for equity appreciation over time. From time to time, a few of them we've not been able to pay in a year or two, but what we've done is to restructure, those debts as well. But regardless,
Yeah.
we've maintained positive relationship. 90% of our investors have been paid back over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So 10% is very minute. So we understand the debt game, and we understand the fact that I've been around. Like I said, I've been around the block. I've done businesses that has failed, and that has failed, that has won. So over time, so I kind of really understand how to make it work. So yes, I'm actively raising money to build my personal property portfolio, and that's one part. And I've got into the fun of writing now. So, I mean, I have written 2 books, The Rent Made Easy and The Test, which became an Amazon bestseller within 24 hours of its release. As you also know, I've got the Wealth and Business podcast.
Yeah.
And I've also, within the last 3 years, built a remarkable brand. So I love to just basically talk to people how to go from unknown to unforgettable, and and the goal is to help business owners who are in their growth phase of their businesses,
Yeah.
all right, to scale that brand that attracts the right people into their business. So it's a new brand, it's a new product. I'm still developing it, but
Not launched it yet? Or
it's on a pre-launch, but I already got people coming through it. So
trialing
it's
it?
just basically telling people, showing people step by step
How to
of
grow your brand.
how Dr. Daniel Moses in 3 years became Dr. Daniel Moses. That I'm being the whole Ghana is Ghana is talking about me, Nigeria is talking about me. Quite a significant market in the UK is talking about me. And if I'm very correct, there is no big property trainer out there that haven't seen my ad or seen my name or heard about me. And when I've met them, it's like, oh, I know you. The other day, I met Saj Hussein.
Okay.
And when I met Saj, and he said, Dr. Daniel Moses, and when he called me by my name, that was, like I've
Good
never
feeling.
met him. That was a good feeling, And then a few other property trainers who are there. I don't want to, mention too many names. Who have followed me, reached out to me as well.
Yeah.
So it's
Are you fussy with who you work with now? Or who you
I'm a
want to be
friends to all.
associated? Who you
At the moment, I'll use the word I'm the friends to everybody.
you're friends to everybody.
I'm a friend to everybody. I will say at the moment I am a friend to everybody. No matter how terrible you are, no matter how good you are, I'm a friend to everybody. Prove yourself to me that you're my guy. We'll stay close. Prove yourself that it's not worth it. Then we'll stay apart.
Yeah,
So I'm a friend of all at the minute.
Okay.
Maybe that will change.
Maybe that could change, yeah.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay, so you mentioned, can I just ask you about your name, Dr. Daniel Moses?
Mm-hmm.
Where does that doctor come from? How have you got that? Pay attention. I've got some exciting news for you guys. I've launched a 7-day total free audio course for you guys, which is going to help you improve and elevate your mindset, and it's also going to help you in your business. All you have to do is go and sign up every single day, day 1 to day 7. You will receive a free 2-minute audio from me in my own words, in my voice, and what that will do is help you in your business and your mindset. Make sure you go and sign up and let me know how you find it.
So I was honored by a university in the US for all the work I've been doing, especially within the ethnic minority.
Okay.
As you know, majority of my audience are, people from ethnic minority background. I was honored by Cornerstone University in the US as a doctor of philosophy and business and Christian leadership.
Oh, okay. And then that's just carried you
And
through.
then, that was how I got my doctorate.
Wow, okay. So what was that in America?
Yeah, that was in the US, yes.
Did you stay there for a bit? Were you in
No, I didn't. I was basically, from time to time, these are things that happens to you when you become a person of public interest and public, figure.
Yeah.
From time to time, just like being nominated for awards.
Yeah.
This year alone, I've been nominated for over 7 or 10 awards already.
Wow.
So the same way people put your name in the room somewhere. So for me, my doctorate award is not academical, it is decorate. So in becoming a doctor, you either get it in 2 ways. One is you went to study for 4 years as a philosophist.
Yeah.
Or you basically get a honorary, based on your work, based on your achievement, based on who you are and what you've
All
done.
the good work that you've done
Exactly.
type thing.
So my situation was I got decorated by by
Makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It says property wealth strategist.
Yes.
So just break that down for me and for the people that don't know what that is. Am I correct? Is it like somebody who wants to get into the property game and they don't know where to start, so you will create a strategy for them?
So, well, actually, it is wealth strategist.
Okay.
Yes, I'm a wealth strategist. I like to call myself a wealth strategist because 2016,
Yeah.
I was an Uber driver.
You was, yeah?
Yes, I was an Uber driver. I stopped driving for Uber way
In
back.
2016?
16, yes.
That's not long ago,
It's
right?
not long ago at all. So I'm an Uber driver. I was an Uber driver in 2016, and I stopped driving for Uber in 2018, and I wrote that in my first book. So one of the things I came to realize was that in the US,
Yeah.
they're very heavy on debt.
What do you mean?
Debt. When I mean debt, like
Depth, you mean like deep?
no, like debt, like not having money, like
Oh, debt.
using debt, like
Got it,
all right?
okay.
Sorry, my Nigerian accent coming.
No,
out,
I was just trying to
coming
make
out
sure we
there,
get the word right. Yeah.
So debt, as in you have good debt, bad debt.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, debt, yeah,
So
yeah.
debt. So that's where the African accent comes out from.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I get it.
You know, interestingly, it still comes out once in a while. My son tells me, he's like, "Oh, Daddy, no, you didn't pronounce that correctly." I'm like, "Don't worry."
No, you did. It's just I just need you to make
I
sure.
know, I know.
Yeah, yeah.
At least that would be good for the audience to see that, you know what, we're real and we're
Yeah,
not.
of course.
So, anyways, yeah. So I came to realize, like, how come everybody, for example, in the first place, especially within the ethnic minority,
Yeah,
we invest a lot of money to do weddings, parties, and all of these things. We invest a lot of money on going on holidays and all of these things.
yeah.
So we keep working to live rather than living to work.
Interesting observation, right? Yep.
So it was an interesting observation. So we basically work, work, work to live. When can we start to live to work? And the reason why that happens is because we don't understand debt. We always think that we needed money to be in our bank account as a savings in order for us to take actions. So thank goodness to my mentors, I didn't realize that I didn't have to have money sitting in my bank to create wealth. When I first got to learn about, wealth, different types of wealth strategies, I didn't, it was broken to me by one of my UK mentors. But in the US, it was broken differently by another different mentor in the US. I resonated more with the mentor in the US than the mentor in the UK. Because the mentor in the UK was also, even though he taught, he was very risk reverse. But the one in the US, even he taught it, but he wasn't risk reverse because he's done it to billions. And I'm like, oh my days. And I started to study it.
Yeah.
You know, and I started to realize, what is it? Why is it that a lot of people don't know about this in this way? But people understand it in a different way. So I'll give an example. Maybe you've got £10,000 on your American Express now.
Yeah.
Instantly, you might crave for a holiday. Instantly, you take your American Express credit card and you go on holiday. And when you come back, you're working to pay the American Express on the holiday you've been to.
Yeah.
So I'm like, what if, for example, let's just say, rent to rent. All right, let's break this down to rent to rent.
Yeah.
How about if you actually took that credit card and you invested it on a rent to rent deal? It's still a purchase,
Yeah.
or you can actually do a cash drawdown.
Yeah.
All right, and that money can be cash to you, whichever way you want to look at it, and then you don't actually need to get a loan. If you run your rent to rent business correctly, without not, with doing all the appropriate due diligence, and you got the right rent to rent HMO
Yeah, yeah.
or access in the right location,
Yeah.
that £10,000 you've invested can actually give you what? Maybe £20,000 in 2 years. So regardless, your rent to rent is not paying the credit card, right?
And you're making money.
And then you're making money.
Yeah. But it's just how you've chosen
But
to spend it, right?
Exactly. And then, as well as when people wanted to do weddings, they actually, my wedding is coming for Ibby. Can you loan me 5K? It's my wedding. I'll pay you in a year's time. And even banks, banking institutions do offer you even wedding money. Obviously, now they're not doing it that much more. And you find out they're doing all these different things. And I'm like, okay. So my mind started opening up. So I then realized, if I can leverage debt and I can use that as deposit to acquire my property,
Yeah.
and I'd refurbish the property, and the property then goes up in value, once I refinance, I'm able to pay off my debt, and I
And
can
keep the property.
sit on the asset and then wait for capital appreciation, and I get to get paid whilst I'm waiting for capital appreciation.
Yeah.
So I can wait for capital appreciation for a year, for 2 or 3 or 4, depending
Yeah.
on the number of years. And I'm like, whoa, okay. And I started to do that. So, and that was where that wealth strategy came through. So I then sat people down once in a while, and people say, oh, I want it done here. I love what you're doing, but I don't have the money. And I'm like, yes, you do. It's like, no, I don't have the money. I'll give you a typical example. I met with a lady, the husband died, and left her a £3 million asset that is unencumbered.
Yeah.
And this woman said, I'd love to come to your training, but I don't have the money. So when we go into a one-to-one conversation, I didn't realize she had a property that is worth £3 million unencumbered,
Yeah.
no mortgage on it. And she said to me, I'm broke.
Mm.
And I'm like, no, you're not. Do you earn an income from that property? She says, no, I don't. Because the property was run down. So now we're working with that lady. Another situation was another woman who has a property that has an outstanding mortgage of £100,000 and her asset is worth £700,000.
Yeah.
She's sitting on £700,000. Sorry, she's sitting on she's sitting on 500. She's sitting on £600,000 to £500,000
Something like that, yeah.
equity.
What did
But she can't release money from that property because of her affordability at the moment, because of her current job. So I opened up her mindset. And now we're about to release about £300,000. Then another one of my clients, Maxine, we just released £140,000, regardless of whatever her outstanding balance is in her current home and her 9 to 5 money. And she released 140K. And now she just bought a house with the money. So there was a lot of people who didn't understand that they're sitting on gold, on money.
Yeah.
And
This
yes,
is where you came
that,
in.
and that is where I discovered that,
This is a road you can go
it
down.
is a
and-
road to me to open a lot of people's mind to
Of
like,
what's
actually,
possible.
what's possible with what you already have.
Why do you think they don't do it then?
I think,
Apart from the fact that, do you think there's a sense of they're scared that they might just spend it on the wrong thing?
number one, I think a lot of people want good things in life.
Yeah.
But they because they're not educated.
Yeah.
And because a lot of people can talk the talk,
Yeah.
but not a lot of people walk the. It's very easy for people to talk the talk,
Yeah.
right? I met someone the other day and he said, "Oh, Dr. Dan, the reason why I like you is because I know you got the business. I know you do what you're saying, and you can talk the talk." He said most people come on stages, they talk the talk, but they haven't walked the walk. My 2 books I've written is things I have personally achieved.
Yeah.
So I'm the case study.
Yeah.
I'm the case study before actually teaching it. So I've learned it from mentors, but I didn't go and build a case study. So I just give you an example. We did a deal in Newcastle, £70,000 purchase, revalued at £120,000, successfully completed.
Yeah.
So if I'm going to teach you to go up north to buy a house, I've done it.
You've done it, yeah.
All right? And if I'm going to teach you to come and buy a house in London, I've done it. If I'm going to teach you about how to build a social media following, I've got a very decent following. If I'm going to teach you how to get good people on your podcast, I have one. So I'm the case study. So I'm teaching people what I've done. Obviously, I don't think, is there any regulation out there to regulate what I'm saying? For example.
No.
Exactly. So what I'm trying to
It's just
say
perspective,
there,
yeah.
there is no regulation telling me I can't teach people what result I've achieved for myself. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So yeah, so that's just it for me.
Yeah. So do you think that, because I know a lot of people where they've got money, but they don't like debt, and it's because they don't understand it, or they just don't feel that they're responsible enough to maybe use the £100,000 and leverage it, because at the end of the day, you do have to manage that sort of money. So do you think that it's really, really important to understand the basics and the fundamentals of financial literacy then before they start that journey?
Interesting question. Yes.
You understand
have
what
to-
I'm saying,
yeah,
right?
absolutely. You're very right. It's important to understand debt management.
Yeah.
But it's not something that you have to go and study. But if you're a very inquisitive person, then
Yeah.
study debt management. But if you understand debt management, if you understand really well, the world we live in at the moment is a leverage. We live in a debt and leverage economy.
Yeah.
So when the pandemic happened,
Yeah.
and everybody got bounce back loans, CB's loans, and all of these things, Britain didn't have that money.
Yeah.
They created that money and they gave it to you and I so we can pay interest over time. So they get their money back and you pay some interest for it. So everything that we ever have around us is all made up. So government controls it so that it's regulated, so that people don't abuse it, right? But when you then
See, you understand money. That's why you're saying it like that. I know the language you're speaking.
But
Most people.
need to understand that.
They do.
People need to understand you are not going to ever have enough money to start a business. You're going to have to take a loan. You're going to have to take a business finance. You're going to have to leverage at some point in time. You see, there's this thing about a lot of people thinking, oh, I've got to be in a place where I'm making clear profit in a year or two after starting business. Most businesses out there that become successful, they leverage for at least a minimum of 5 to 10 years and start making profit later, especially when you're doing real estate.
It's a long-term
It's
game,
long
isn't it?
term. So the fact is, if you understand the mindset, around, debt, that's number one, because you've got to be strong. It's
That's
not,
it. Understand the mindset
you
around
got, you
debt,
got to
right?
have a mindset,
Yeah.
all right, that is strong enough, first of all, to even think about leveraging debt to create wealth. But that's what all successful people do.
Absolutely.
Every successful people that has ever existed on this planet, they leveraged debt and then they became wealthy.
Yes.
So when I understood that, I'm like, what's the worst that's going to happen? I'm buying assets. The
Yeah.
worst case scenario, I sell my asset and pay off my debt. But it's just about understanding the metrics and having the mindset for wealth creation and understanding, like, England itself is run on the back of debt. The government is funded through debt.
All debt, right? Do you have like a masterclass, or do you have like a program that you teach that strategy deep, and then you teach the money part side as
Yeah,
well?
so I teach my high level clients, so people who are in the place where at least they're already earning above £150,000 a year.
Yeah.
Above £150,000 a year. So I do like a deep, quite, a strategic
Like a deep
section,
yeah.
a deep dive into what I've done, how I've done it, and just
So is that your inner circle program type thing, or
yeah.
what's it called? Or is it? Do you not advertise it?
So no, it's truly by invitation only.
Right.
Yeah, it's truly by invitation. So my inner circle is called the Wealth Circle Community. So it's for anyone basically starting to wanting to get to growth. Then we have a executive level, where I deep dive with them, strategically structuring it, and then bringing my power team. So
Yeah.
I've got my tax advisors, I've got my accountants,
Yeah, yeah.
I've got my financial brokers, and they understand it. And we also know the right lender that we have to go to, that we allow those debts, to be leveraged to a certain level to obviously building that particular property portfolio.
Got it. So what is that, like a 12-month thing, or you work with someone, or is it like a 6-month, 5-month?
Well, the way it works out, I always say to people, in order for you to create wealth, it's not a 1 year thing, it's not a 2 year thing, but the entry level is on a yearly basis.
Got it.
So if you come in, we'll do a mind map strategy, and as well as a business map strategy for 18 months projection.
Yeah.
So you have the option to subscribe in for the first year, and at the end of the first year, you can choose to go on with the remaining of the plan, or you can choose to leave. But if you then choose to stay, then there is a renewal fee, to be there. But ideally, what we do with people is, let's take you on a 5 year journey, because what got me where I am, I'm not even there yet. But what got me where I am is the fact that I was able to map my first 5 years out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And now I've mapped my next 10 years out.
Yeah,
So
interesting.
that's what's taking me where I'm going to. So it's where I'm going in 5 years. And everything I said I will be in my first 5 years, I have now been.
Yeah.
I wanted to be heard. I wanted to be known. I wanted to have raised at least 1.5 million. I wanted to have at least bought multiple properties. I have achieved all these different things. So now the next 10 years is to hit 9 figures.
Easy.
In the next 10 years.
So if someone wants to work with you on like the inner deep dive one, where you map out everything for them.
Yeah.
If someone wants to work for a year, what they're looking at? Is it expensive? Is it not expensive? What is it? What's the price?
Well, in terms of the price, the way it works, it's on my website. So the price is there on my website. It's very affordable, and we've partnered with other payments solution institutions.
What's your website?
It's called propertywe.co.uk. So property we at the end.co.uk. So it's there on my website.
Propertye.co.
We.
Propertywe.
Yeah. So the we starts for Property Wealth Education.
Got it. Yeah, yeah.
So www.propertywe.co.uk.
Got it.
Yeah. So it's there on my website. So anyone can feel free to have a look.
If they wanna.
Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned branding. I want to know your understanding of branding. What is it? Like, how do you see branding? What do you?
Interestingly, I spoke in great detail in chapter number 10 of my new book.
Which one? The test,
The
right?
test, yes.
Okay. Okay.
I wrote quite detail about it in chapter number 10.
Yeah.
It's called Pay to Play. So on the chapter called Pay to Play, I
Yeah.
talk about branding, and branding, in the eyes of many, especially many startups, depending on what your audience are. A lot of people think about branding, they think about colors, they think about your website, complimentary card, your car, and that's what people think about branding. So branding for me is who you are.
Right.
Branding is how you show up. Branding is who knows you. Branding is people making referrals. Branding is your value. Branding is your service. Branding is how credible are you. Branding is how you communicate. So branding is massive.
Yeah.
So branding is you being interviewed in articles. Branding is me being on this podcast. If I didn't have a brand, I wouldn't be on your podcast. Let's just be realistic about it. So branding is everything. So once you have a brand, all right, branding is just basically, again, another word for brand is your culture, the culture of what you represent. So for me, I talk about branding in that great detail, and I said because once you have all these different components together, you become the bee. All right. So you become the honey. Sorry, you become the honey, and the bees come to you.
I like that analogy.
You become the honey, and the bees come to you because of what you have and how people see you, how people perceive you. And how much have you maintained that integrity of being the honey.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, over the last 3 years alone, we've been working tirelessly on the brand, and they say most businesses don't last a year. We're now in our 6th year. So, and that's branding. Branding is also there as well.
Yeah.
Because it's you doing one thing long enough. So when I started my journey, I did not go and start doing all these different things. So I took one step at a time, like a staircase. You start from the first step, you go to the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth. So branding is surrounding exactly all the things that you do and speaking at every given point in time, you're speaking from that angle.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're delivering from that angle. Your investors are trusting you, your education people, anything you're doing, people are trusting you from that angle. So it's huge for me.
Interesting. So for someone that's starting off, let's just say,
Yep.
and they want to create a brand,
Yep.
what would you say? Don't look at colors, don't look at this, and don't look at that. Just be a person of integrity, or what would you say? How would someone at the very beginning think of a brand or start their journey off with that?
The first thing is integrity.
Right.
So first of all, you've got to decide where are you now, and where you are now. If you say one thing where you are now,
Yeah.
5 years time, is it going to be the same? Integrity. So you've got to establish what is it that I'm very trusted for. What story can I tell that will remain consistent 5 years time?
Yeah.
And then the second step would be create a media, because without media, you're not going to have where to attract or share that message. So social media, Instagram could be 1, Facebook could be 2, depending on which one pleases you. All right. So your integrity, then you need a platform.
Yep.
And then you need a service.
Like an offer.
A service, because there should be an intentional reason why you want to have a brand.
Yep.
There has to be an intention. So the intention, are you a professional who wants to get to the top of your career? Are you a property developer who wants to do business with, Richard Branson in 5 years' time?
Yeah.
So you have to set an intention. So don't just jump on social media for the sake of it,
Yeah.
but be very intentional of what you are now and what does 5 years look like. And I share very great detail about that, great detail enough to begin when we talk about branding.
Interesting.
I mean, if you look at my two books, you can see some similarities in my two books.
Yeah.
Look at that book behind you and look at this book behind you. It's not the same color, but it is still blue, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Over there, I'm wearing a suit. On the second one, I'm also wearing a suit. So brand is how I show up.
Yep. Okay. Let's talk about the book, The Test.
Yes.
When did this come out?
This came out on the 14th of July,
Okay.
last week Friday.
So it came out for you. By the time people watch this, it'll have been weeks later. So why did you write this book? And I believe you said this is to do with a lot of mindset stuff
Yes.
and a lot of the challenges you've gone through and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And you've put it together in a book, right? I mean, it speaks for itself, the test. What does it mean? Life's going to test you?
So the fact is, number one, let's break it down from the test and then the transitioning from the ordinary to the extraordinary part.
And it's a very small book as well, guys.
130, I think
113 pages. Like
136 pages.
Even if you buy it, like if you read 10 pages a day, it's done in 10 days. A really small book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Powerful small book.
Yeah.
So, the test, number one, is that, in this journey of entrepreneurship,
Yeah.
you are going to be tested. You're going to be tested through personal challenge. You're going to be tested through business challenge. You're going to be tested through emotional challenge. So for me, I went through different types of tests in my life. And I shared that in great detail from chapter number 1 to chapter number 2. So I opened the book with pushing through your pain.
Yeah.
So chapter number 1 was every single pain that I went through. Chapter number 2 was the continual aspect of the pain that I've been through that could have held me back for even getting to the level I have.
Give me one
now.
example of a pain that you went through, just so.
All my days.
Just pick any.
So one of the pain that I went through, on chapter number 1, is a pain of once I relocated into the UK from Nigeria as an immigrant, and then I settled down with my wife and kids. So I settled down with my wife and eventually had my first child, right? And then I had a legal issue and I had to leave the country for about a year.
Right.
And I returned to Nigeria. And then I was attacked by armed robbers with a gun to my chest. And I had to beg for my life. And I had to negotiate for my life to stay alive. It was the most, it was hard. It was just so hard knowing that I could have been killed, but yet I survived. So gun to my chest, money I had in my pocket given, watches, clothes, everything I had on me given, plus a car, which eventually they abandoned me somewhere else, and I got
This
the
was
car.
in Nigeria?
Back in Africa. And that was a very challenging moment for me. I remember it took me a couple of weeks to kind of overcome it. But then again, the spirit of a fighter in me basically came out and just negotiated that through whilst so many things was happening in literally 5 minutes.
I can imagine.
And it was the most terrifying time, experience of my life. And as well as after that,
did they hurt you, or did they?
No, I didn't.
Did you give them everything? And
they didn't hurt me. They got everything that they wanted because I was just given.
What did you give them? How much did you lose? A few grand, or
a few grand? My watches, I even went as far as taking off my shirts.
Really?
And just take everything.
Yeah, just let
me.
Because you were thinking about your
so
wife and kids.
I'm just like, take everything. Just let me go. And then they left with the car. And then they left with all the things I had around me.
Is it because they knew you come from like UK and you probably got
not
money?
Really.
Or?
Obviously, not really. And this is one of the things. Growing up in Africa, those are normal things, by the way. In Africa, you being kidnapped, you being robbed, those are normal things that happens depending on the location you're in.
Right.
All right? Depending on the location, you could be driving your car, you can be overtaken by another car and robbed. It's like
it's normal up there, right?
Exactly, it happens, but it doesn't happen every day. But It happens, and when it does happen, the police have no control over it. Does that make sense? If you're lucky,
course, I know, yeah.
sometimes the police might be around. Sometimes the police might not be around. Sometimes you report the case to the police, you become the victim yourself. And it's quite terrible that at that
So where
time.
we're going, where's that? Is that fine? Yeah.
Of course. I'm not trying to scare you now.
Bro,
So it does happen,
Yeah.
from time to time. So because in Africa, let's be very honest about it. You're your own security. You are your own. You produce your own economy. So at that particular time, I was in a very suburb location.
Got it. Yeah.
Like the specific areas that I grew up. So now, I'm doing well. Went back to to those area, and then that happened.
That happened. Yeah.
And I share great detail because you asked me for one question. So to explaining the whole question, it's in the book because in the beginning of the book, you will see how the build up of
Yeah, but you've
different
already got me
incidents-
hooked. So this needs to be read.
So that was one of the challenges and many, many, many more.
Yeah, no,
And how I navigated those challenges as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when you're pushed to the back end of the wall, it's your ability to fight back at every given point in time is what literally build up your resilience level, is what literally build up your entrepreneurial spirit, depending on what you're going through at that particular point in your life.
Yeah. No, of course, absolutely. You mentioned family there briefly. How important is your family to you?
Oh, my days. My family is everything. My wife, my 2 children, they're everything. They're the reason why I'm in England.
How long have you been married?
Been married to my wife for 17 years.
Wow,
I've
okay.
known her for 18 years. I've been here for almost 20 years now. And my kids, they're everything. Like, my wife, everything. They're the reason why I live.
What would you say is the secret to your strong relationship? Hey YouTube, I'm really sorry to cut you off, but I have to share this with you. I want you to get to your next level, and I believe that personal development is the gateway to success. So what I've done is I've gone and created a 7-day free audio course. This is totally free. All you have to do is sign up, and from day 1 till day 7, every single day you will receive a 2-minute audio from me, which will elevate your mindset and give you power in your business. Make sure you go and sign up and let me know how you find it.
I share great details of the secrets about that in my book. So one of the things, I remember recently I had a very interesting conversation with a potential investor who I'm looking to work with. God willing, this person will be one of my biggest investors in all time. And they're looking to invest quite heavily. He said, the reason why I want to do business with you, you're young, you're in your early 40s, and he says, you've kept 17 years marriage. That was number 1. He said, you survived COVID. That was number 2. You have failed so many times, and you're still breathing.
You're still here, yeah.
He said, that's just why I want to do business with you. He said, I don't care about the numbers.
Yeah.
So for me, one of the reasons why I've been able to keep a long-time marriage is inspiration that's come from my father. Because I was born and bred into a polygamous family. Polygamous family. When I meet polygamous family, for those probably who don't understand the meaning of the word, my father married so many wives.
Right.
And my father had so many children. So I didn't really grow up, being able to treat my son how, my dad being able to treat me how I treat my son right now.
Yeah.
So part of the reason why I only have 2 kids is because of the inspiration from my dad. So my dad had many, I don't want to have many, just 2, so I can focus on them. So my son is 15, he's my best friend. My daughter is 12. She's also my best friend. I'm already raising my daughter to go and study accounting. That's my weakness. I don't like accounts.
I like what you're doing there.
My son is an entrepreneur. He's going to go and study business to the highest level academically and as well as creatively, so he can lead.
And so I'm probably bring that part of your business, right, in your family business, yeah?
Absolutely. So I'm raising them. I'm literally raising them because my father, I didn't have that opportunity.
Yeah.
I didn't have that opportunity for that to happen. So, yes.
Do you feel, I'm interested to hear your answer here. Do you feel disrespected by the industry, or do you feel like you still have something to prove where they don't respect you enough yet. You understand what I'm saying, yeah?
Absolutely. I do believe that I don't think I'm disrespected by the industry. I just think it's almost like you have to be in it to win it. People are not going to respect you until they see, all right, that you are what you say you are, and you are who you say you are. I think it's important for everybody to develop to win it.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't feel disrespected. I feel like, you've got to have a skin in the game. I think the way the game is going, it's going to become an industry where it's only those who have skin in the game that's going to be able to talk.
You've done it, right?
Because I am seeing it happening to me now. 3 years ago, there are certain people who are reaching out to me now that I felt disrespected by them. Because,
Yeah.
yes, I got disrespected by them, but and I felt bad when that happened to me. But then again, I asked myself, who am I? I was a nobody. So you gotta build it.
And the tables do turn eventually, don't they?
Listen, the table turn.
Yeah.
The table turn. All you learn, and again, chapter number 10 of my book, Pay to Play. If you're saying, if you want to sit on the table, if you don't get invitation, find a way to buy yourself a seat.
I like that. Because you mentioned, as we were talking off camera, you talking about the pay to play. And like, really either you have to pay to get on the table or you just work your ass off and then it just takes your time, right?
Yeah. When you work your ass out, you get invited.
Yeah, yeah. Or you just pay.
If you don't get invited, then you pay to be on the table.
Yeah. And that's been your biggest, would you say that's been your biggest strength? What you've done?
Absolutely. My biggest strength is I can do both now. I can pay to be on the table, or I can get an invitation by somebody that already basically paid to be on his table to get an invite.
Yeah, yeah. And that's key, right?
And that's key.
Comes back to networking, comes back to relationships, right?
Who do you know?
Yeah. What's been the biggest money you've spent on your own personal development journey?
All my days. Lots of money. I have spent nothing less than 150,000 in the last 3 years on myself.
Yeah.
One of my mentors, Adam Stott.
Guys, did you hear that? 150K, yeah? No, but it's serious because like it's this month, this year, it's not even been 7 months and I've already nearly spent 80 or something.
Yeah.
And it's so important if you want to be really play at the top.
The bottom is crowded.
Yeah.
So the bottom is crowded, and the quicker you find a way to the top, the better for you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to build a 9-figure business within the next 10 years.
Yeah. And you have to do that, right?
And if I have to do a 9-figure business in the next 10 years, I've got to learn to pay to play.
At least 6 figures you have to, yeah.
At least you've got to spend some money.
Yes, yes.
I had the opportunity of sharing the stage with Gary Vee 2 years ago.
Okay.
And I spoke in front of over 2,000 to 3,000 people. I think, if I'm right, I can't remember the actual number now. It was a London event. Shared the stage with Gary Vee, and
Did you meet him as well?
yeah, we met, we spoke, we took pictures, he did a video, and it's there for people to check. And not just that, we're also we're talking at the moment, to doing something together. When I mean doing something, my office has reached out to his office, and we're trying
something in UK, you mean, or
yeah, my office has reached out to his office, and we're going to be having that communication.
Interesting.
To doing something soon.
Nice.
And in terms of pay to play now, I'm also talking with, Richard Branson's office.
Yeah.
I'm going to be going to Nike Island to sit with Richard Branson.
Yeah.
So you got to put your money where your money.
Well, I heard that they have something in that island.
Yes, every year.
Every year. What is it? Is it 30 grand, 50 grand? What is it?
It starts from 30 grand.
Okay.
For the week.
This is what I was trying to say. So I was speaking on my stories the other day. Imagine being in a room where everyone's paid minimum 30K. Mm-hmm. Like, forget anything else, just the connections, like what you're going to make, right?
Because seriousness. You're talking to serious people.
Yeah. And in order for someone to pay 30K to be in there, you have to be making at least 7 figures, right? Yep. So It's just different sort of class of people.
Well,
you're
it's
gonna
not even have to be making. If you've taken, if you there are people that might not be making it, but if you've taken the risk to invest 30 grand to spend
in a room.
7 days with Richard Branson, when you come back, the people you're gonna meet.
Yeah.
So I'll give an example. The very first time I invested £30,000
Yeah.
on my personal development with one of my mentors, Adam Stotts, big guy on social media. He's the founder of Big Business Event. He basically taught me a lot.
UK or America?
UK,
Right.
Adam Stott. You can check him out. And he taught me a lot of secrets of what I know today. My other mentor as well is Grant Cardone. And I'm on his accelerator mentorship program as well. I've not met him face to face, but I'm going to be meeting him sometime soon. And the reason why I've not gone is due to some personal reasons.
Yeah.
So you've got to, like I said, that's why I speak about pay to play.
Yeah, I like
so
that.
for you to be in someone's circle, look how you met me and how we met.
Yeah, we
the
met.
The room we met, all right, it was a 3-hour event somewhere, and
Yeah.
it was costing good money as well.
Yeah.
And the number of people in that room.
Yeah, it was a powerful room.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely.
So, and this is the thing, you're not gonna have to meet some type of people except of the level of the funds you spend to meet some
Totally
people.
Totally agree with you. So, do you have any other business interests?
Yes, I do. The business interest that I have, like I did mention to you now, is to go international speaking.
International speaking.
Yes. I'm very knowledgeable. I've been through there. And I just feel like it's time to get paid to talk.
100%. 100%. You're missing out on a big market there, right?
I said, it's time to get paid to talk. And the moment I said it,
Yeah.
I got a company reached out to me. I'm going to Nigeria this month.
Yeah.
Business class paid.
Yeah.
5-star hotel paid.
Yeah.
Good spending money. So, and this is it. Like, you've got to be in it.
Yeah.
To win it.
Yeah, exactly. You got to think about it, and then it does happen once you start looking into
absolutely,
it.
Right? Absolutely. And this is why I wrote the test, because a lot of people will I've been able to convert my pain.
Yeah.
Into greatness. And a lot of people should learn to convert all their life experiences.
Yeah.
You know.
So will we be seeing you on a lot of international stages? Is that your plan? Go.
A lot of people. A lot.
'Cause you have a family as well, don't you?
Yes, I have a family in Africa. Yes, I have a family.
So
in
what, are you
Nigeria.
going to be just taking them with you, or just like, because it can be like, I've heard a lot of people that have been done it. They say that they stop because of family.
Well, for me, my family has been in the forefront of what I do. So one of the greatest things I've been able to do is integrate my entire family into the business. So my wife is the operations director in the company now. She quit her job last year from a 25 years career. So my wife is in the business now. My kids, my son is 15, my daughter is 12 now. So basically, what does that mean? It means that at certain time, I can get speaking gig around the holiday season in specific countries.
Yeah.
So I learned that from one of my mentors as well. So holidays around that time would be a speaking gig in those countries that I would love to go, and then they go with me.
Interesting.
So worst case scenario, I get to travel for free, and then I get to pay the cost of my families.
Yeah. No, public speaking is really good, and it's really good.
And besides, depending on the situation, these are expenses that also could be written off depending on special arrangements. Always.
We figured it out.
We'll figure it out.
Brother, before we finish off, give me some of your wisdom principles, something which you only share with inner people, something that will blow the head off us, something, whatever. I'll let you take the...
Interestingly, you got my book right there.
Yep.
Let me have it.
Yes.
Great.
You should know it by heart.
No, I just want to very quickly share this, right?
Yeah.
So this is what I live by. So one of the things that I've learned is that from the day you decide to use your pain to ride your way to victory,
Yeah.
you've already overcome every single challenge of your life.
Yeah.
So one thing I say to people is riding on whatever is basically obstructing you right now. So whatever is in front of you, no matter how difficult as it is, learn to use that as the reason why you have to absolutely become successful. So riding your pain to victory is key. Number 2 is, they say tough time don't last. Tough people do. For me,
Say that one again. Say that one again.
tough time don't last. Tough people do. See, a lot of people get into business and entrepreneurship thinking, okay, I've just been to a Rob Moore course, I've just been to a Samuel Lee's course, I've just been to a Dr. Daniel Moses course, and the rest is history. No, it's actually the beginning of your downfall. But you have to learn to turn that downfall into the greatest success. Because do you know what? 100 people are in the room and only 1% or 2% or even 5% go about making it in the game.
Why?
Because the rest of the 95% doesn't have that pinpoint of how much it really pains them to wanting to really change. My mentor, Carl Hutchins, came to my book launch on Friday and he gave a speech. And that reminds me of my journey. So you can see at every given point in time of my life, I've had mentors. So for me, someone asking me this question now means that no matter the days you don't want to get out of bed, because it happens every single day. You've been to a course, you've been told all these glorious things, and you're thinking it's the course that's going to take you somewhere. No, it's not the course. It's all down to you.
It's you.
It's you picking up yourself when nobody is there and celebrating yourself and say, you know what, I've got to go out do it anyway. That's what makes you successful.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And finally, success is an inside job. Success begins from the within. If an egg is broken from the outside, life ends. But when it's broken from the inside, life begins. So until you fix your within, until you fix inside of you, you might think, okay, Dr. Daniel Moses is doing property. Oh, Ibby is a podcaster now. I'm going to go on the podcast. Oh, Ibby is doing Instagram Live. I'm going to go on Instagram Live. You end up chasing so many rabbits and not catching any because you haven't fixed the inside. So until you fix inside, you can't manifest on the outside. So what does that mean? It means clarity. You have to be crystal clear of what you want. And sometimes you got to make so much mistakes in your life in order for you to have clarity. So like myself, I had to fail so many times to have clarity. And once I discovered that, that's what I need to do, I had to then go back to fix the inside. And ever since I started fixing the inside, the outside just, get more glamorous. So success is from the inside, not from the outside.
Really, really powerful. Really, really powerful. Just one more question. So currently...
I'll give that back to you.
Yes, yes. How many mentors do you currently have?
So at the moment, I have one specific mentor for different things.
Okay.
Or I have specific mentors, I have specific mentors for different things.
Yeah.
I have a mentor, who mentors me about life. I have my spiritual mentor. I have a marriage mentor. You agree with me, keeping a 17-year marriage is not a joke, right? And I just have mentors for different things.
I like that.
Yeah, but one of my mentors at the moment, that's taught me everything else from, from business and life is Grant.
Dr. Daniel, let's wrap this up. It's been a pleasure talking to you. We will put all your book links and all your websites, everything in the description below.
Yep.
And that's been a really, really good chat. And I think I've just been really intrigued by everything. So,
yeah,
brother,
thank you so much.
Coming.
And I really appreciate, how the conversation we've had. I think it's quite It's quite amazing
It was
because
good, wasn't it?
yes, it was quite interesting because it's not anything near what I've ever shared in so many of podcast interviews. So thank you,
There you go.
appreciate it
A
for
lot of
having me here.
exclusives. A lot of
Yes,
exclusives.
a lot of different angles.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.